Hello, future authors. You're watching Building Your Chapters, the mastery objective. By the end of this video, future authors will be able to identify how to build chapters, the beginning, middle, and the conclusion. They will also be able to examine their book's sentence structure. Let's get started. Now, in the last video, step 6, we looked at the working book title. In this video, step 7, let me start by giving you a good writing tip. This tip will apply to each one of your chapters. Be sure that you include a captivating or popping lead sentence. Your lead sentence of every chapter will push the reader to keep on reading. In other words, the lead sentence makes the reader feel that they will miss something if they don't read the next sentence or the next paragraph. So, the tool for pushing the reader to keep on reading is your lead sentence. Let's look at these examples. I pulled these excerpts from my own book manuscript. Look at the first one. I can't forget the way I felt. If I didn't hurry up and get higher academic grades, my third college semester would have been sour as a lemon. Example 2. My college steps to a journey started right here. He set his jaw and never cracked a smile. Then he looked at me eyeball to eyeball, and you wouldn't believe what came out of his mouth. Now, if you were reading that manuscript, would you want to keep on reading? So this is the purpose of your lead sentence. It pushes the reader to keep on reading. Okay, now we've reached the middle section of the chapter. When you get to writing the middle section of your chapters, to help guide you on this path, you might want to make an outline of the chapter. As a result, information will flow more evenly and make perfect sense to the reader. Another thing you want to do in the middle section and throughout your book is to be sure that you know the topic of each paragraph that you write. You may do this by asking yourself, what is the specific topic for this paragraph? Now you've reached the conclusion of your chapter. In this ending section, you want to end your chapter in an astonishing way that pushes the reader into the next chapter. You do this by reiterating your main point in the lead sentence, which is found at the beginning of your chapter. Then, after you do that, you want to shock the reader with your mouth-watering ending. Let me show you how to do it. So let's look at the lead sentence and the conclusion of one particular chapter. So the lead sentence, the information starting at the beginning of the chapter. The thought hit me. My decision to quit working not only impacted me, but also dumped an alarming effect on someone else too. Now we'll look at the conclusion of that same chapter. When I said farewell to my employment role, there were others clinging too. Oh my, you wouldn't believe what happened next. Now, do you see how the conclusion of this particular chapter pushes the reader into the next chapter? So that's what you want to do in all of your chapters. Make sure you have a popping lead sentence, and then when you're getting ready to end the chapter, you want to end the chapter in an astonishing way that will push the reader into reading the next chapter. In this section, we'll look at your chapter's vocabulary, sentence structure, and your tone. Let me start by asking, when you select your vocabulary words, do you want to use basic words, or are you going to try out some of those $1 million words? Now, what I would recommend that you use general or basic words. They don't have to be very, very general or very, very basic, but you want to make sure you make good choices as far as your wording, because you don't want your readers to read your book and have to have a Webster dictionary sitting, beside them as they read your book. So be careful in the type of word choices that you make when you're using your vocabulary. Then we go to sentence structure. Here again, you want to be sure that your sentences are not long. For example, will you plan to integrate complicated sentences or short, simple sentences? Now, I'm not saying that you have to use three-liners or four-liners, but try not to use a lot of long, complicated sentences, because only thing this will do is turn off your reader. Your reader won't be interested in reading a lot of long, complicated sentences. So the tone, when we get to the tone, this is a very, very important part of you writing your book. Keep in mind that tone is known as your voice. So the tone is your voice that the readers will hear as they read your book. Which voice do you want them to hear? Do you want your book to be light and playful, serious, sarcastic, scholarly, critical, or very opinionated? Now, I would recommend that you be here again, look at your word choices, because you don't want a reader to pick up your book and find out that it's very sarcastic or it's very critical and opinionated, because the first thing they're going to do, they're going to lose interest for one, and then they're just going to put your book aside. So pay attention that as the reader reads your book, the voice that they hear as they read is the tone, is really your voice. Okay, so my question is this: as you write your book, which tone do you plan to use? Now it's your turn. What do you think? What is the main purpose of the lead sentence? I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. Now, I hope you said to push the reader to keep on reading. Okay, future authors, in this video, you've learned how to build your chapters, the beginning, the middle, and the conclusion. You've also examined your sentence structures. So, let me ask you a question. Living in a busy, busy world, how on earth can you find time for writing? Well, join me in step 8.